Time to become the Avatar, folks.
A distance if I were you.
So for everybody who's played Remake, a lot of what I'm going to be showing with Aerith is pretty much the same. There are some differences that I think make her a much better character, at least in terms of being able to get away from your opponents, because that was kind of my biggest complaint with her was, like, she didn't really have, like, a get off me button or a way to get away from, like, pressure from physical enemies. So I'm going to let this clip play out while I talk a little bit about her kit and stuff before I start showing off some of the newer stuff. So with Aerith, obviously she's going to be your magical DPS and stuff, and obviously she has the highest magical stat of all the characters in the game. And in Remake, she was a nuke. She was technically a nuke. If you got her magic up there, she did a lot of damage, a lot of magical damage. And I'm going to safely assume that that's going to be the same in Rebirth as well. Although the one big complaint that I had with her, and I said this at the beginning of the video, was that she didn't really have like a way to escape pressure, you know? So like, and I noticed this a lot when I was doing my Final Fantasy VII Remake like solo characters run. Like, there was certain times I wanted to use Aerith and it was just like, it was just too hard because like, if an enemy got in your face, it was almost impossible to try to set up my, you know, my arcane ward to get off my magical attacks and stuff, and then considering that her basic attacks are pretty slow, you know what I mean, it's yeah, it was kind of like, that's rough. You know. So they did do so in Rebirth they added some new things to Aerith, and yes, she's absolutely 100% way better than she was in Remake, at least in my opinion, because now with the ability to perfect block, and then she also has another mechanic and a new ward that she can cast, and we'll talk about that here in just a second, that makes her, yeah, she's going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually looking forward to using her a lot more now, because in Remake, when I was using her, it was mostly when I needed like spells to be cast or to cure and stuff like that. You know, like I mostly used her when there was a stagger or something. Like I just pop up, build up her ATB, switch her out, and then like just use her when I needed a nuke, you know? So yeah, let's talk about her new stuff now. Yeah, so Aerith still has her arcane ward, which allows her to cast basically 2 spells for 1 ATB action. You still use the MP for both the spells, but you only use 1 ATB bar, so that's kind of nice. So yeah, she still has that, but now her triangle ability is different, and I'm going to show that here in just a second. Here's what happens when you use her triangle. You literally teleport to your wards, and yes, that's amazing. So now she has a way to escape pressure from enemies, and then she also doesn't have to stand in her ward the entire time as well. I think that's incredible. So now she also has the addition of another ward called Radiant Ward. So this ward allows her to basically cast spells without being interrupted. And the cool thing about this is you see what I'm doing here is I have them both spaced out. Now you could teleport from one to the other. And then also when you're in Radiant Orb, her basic attack turns into this. She shoots freaking lasers. Like, that was probably the coolest thing to me. Like, now her like in Radiant Ward, her basic attack becomes even more like you turn your basic attack into like an even stronger attack, in my opinion. So like you could use Radiant Orb to build up stagger, and then basically ward shift to your arcane ward to start casting spells during a stagger to get like multiple damage. And you have two ways of getting away from physical enemy or physical attacking enemies who want to get up in your face. It's excellent. So she now is able to like fly across the battlefield, seemingly. Like, you can't spam the triangle ability. It does have a cooldown, which is fine. Don't want to make it too OP. That would be absolutely insane. But it's still like a really great addition to her. Now you know, now I feel like she has a way of escaping pressure. She has a way of now attacking and like building up stagger a little bit easier with her radiant ward. Now she has a way of canceling interruptions of her spells. So like if enemies are up in your face and you want to get a spell off, you can do it if you're in your radiant ward. Yeah, and now and then you can just place them across the battlefield, and Aerith doesn't have to stay still in her wards anymore to be able, you know, I gotta stay close to arcane ward in order to cast my spells, you know. I want to be able to, now you could be over the battlefield and then just teleport right to it immediately when you need to use it. It's incredible, you know. This is such a quality of life change that I think is absolutely needed. And on another note I wanted to kind of talk about is when you do the hold, when you hold her square button to do like her little charge up ability. I don't know if anybody remembers this from Remake, because I don't think anybody really used it. You can see the little butterfly hovering over Aerith right now. Well, not anymore. Oh wait, it's still there. Yeah, right there. The little purple butterfly. That's called the Fleeting Familiar. It was an ability in Remake. Now they've made it a quality of life thing where now when she does her square charge attack, when she throws out the ability, she'll summon a Fleeting Familiar that'll help you attack at the same time, which I think is much better because Fleeting Familiar by itself was not very strong in Remake. And yeah, so this makes it so that, you know, now she can summon the Fleeting Familiar without using any of your ATB gauge, and you can kind of use it on other things like Sorceress Storm, Arcane Ward, and Radiant Ward. You know, being able to worry more about just casting your wards is a lot better to me, in my opinion, because her wards is what really gives her like her power. I think is what makes her like much fun. Because by herself, like it's kind of tough. Because her slow attack speed and stuff, but it's kind of also nice to be able to perfect block as well. So even if you don't have your wards up, you can still block enemies, and you can still do that anyways. So yeah, Aerith has a lot of ways of keeping enemies away from her and getting away. So that's mainly her biggest additions. Other than that, she's still pretty much the same. Like, she's pretty much going to be what you expect, you know. Just put all your elemental magic materia on her, you know. Oh yeah, and considering that, I don't know if anybody's played the Junon demo, you got to experience the new additional like materias where fire and ice are now in one, and then wind and lightning are in one materia. So basically, for 2 materias, you get 4 elements. You know, it doesn't cast fire and ice, you know, at the same time. It just allows you to cast fire and ice in one materia, if I'm making any sense there. And it's the same with lightning and wind, which I think is a perfect addition. So now Aerith's materia slots are not going to just be blown up with, you know, 4 different elemental materias. Now she's going to be able to use whatever else that we're going to probably want to use, like MP up, HP up probably, because we might want to give her more HP, possibly. We'll see. Unless you're like super duper confident in your ability to get away from the enemies, which is a lot easier to do now that she may not need to be super beefy. You can keep her HP low. Keep her like just make her a glass cannon, you know, like a lot of sorcerers or magicians in other RPGs. So yeah, and then like whatever other materias that might be useful that we're going to get in the main game that I have no idea that we're getting, you know. So overall, I think she's going to be a lot more fun to use. Now, I'm not trying to say that like Aerith wasn't fun in Remake. She still was. Like certain bosses, she was tailor-made for, and I loved like what was it? The boss that you fought with Barrett. I forget its name, but you guys all know what I'm talking about. The Arsenal. Yeah, the Arsenal. The Arsenal boss. It was like Aerith was made to counter that boss, and you know, the Rude boss fight. She was made to counter that boss fight as well. You know, like she had a lot of viability. You know, and she was really good to use. It was just that my problem with using her was just, it was just when someone's up in my face and I'm trying to be a magical user, I'm like, get off me, get away from me. I'm trying to like set up my magic spells. Get the hell away from me. I think I summoned Phoenix here because like I didn't really use it when I was playing the demo. Then I earned it and I was just like, I never really used it. But anyways, yeah, so overall, like, yeah, she's gonna be a lot more fun to play, I think. And I'm actually looking forward to doing some of my like no damage stuff or my solo stuff. Being able to use Aerith now, like much more of a solo character. Like I definitely think she's gonna be a lot more viable as a solo character. Simply because you can get away from enemies, and I demonstrated that earlier. But yeah, overall this was a pretty straightforward video, you know, just like not really too much like, oh hey look, this is what you could do, and mostly it was just like the new stuff was rewards. So yeah, I'm gonna end off the video here, and then I got one more character to go, Barrett, and yeah, his is gonna be pretty straightforward too, but that's not a bad thing. So yeah, anyways, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Moving on then.